Familia, familia, familia. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to have an amazing, amazing conversation with someone that I cherish a lot, Dr.
Aw.
Homman Sandoval. For full disclosure, we have been actually really good friends and actually part of this pediatric wellness pathway for the world for the past I'm going to go for 10 years. I think that's a correct and approachable number, probably a
Mhm.
little bit more. And the conversation today, and I'm really happy that Dr. Holman actually, Sandoval, agreed to come with us. The idea of the conversation that we're having today is to make sure that in these troubled times that we have so many things competing us as provider healthcare people, there's like problems with the mask, COVID, the vaccine, influenza, affordable healthcare, like a lot of things. And sometimes we do not know where to start with absolutely anything. Then the idea right now is to channel a little bit of Dr. Homan Sandoval's experience the first time that she went on TV and try to empower all of us to figure out what's the best way that we can start finding our own voice. It's a short conversation, probably like 20-25 minutes, and we will keep it short. If you have any questions, please feel free to send it via chat, and I will be monitoring exactly the comments and everything that it's coming right now. um, well, first of all, Dr. Homan Sandoval, welcome, welcome, welcome. Where are you
Gracias.
located right now?
I am sitting in Iowa City, Iowa, which is eastern Iowa and home of the University of Iowa, Hawkeye territory.
That's awesome, that's awesome. And can you tell us more or less what do you do?
Okay, well, I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist, and because there's so much need for child and adolescent psychiatrists, we often get to have multiple roles, multiple jobs, and that's definitely where I'm at right now. So the majority of my time I spend doing telepsychiatry outreach to northern Wisconsin, and spend my day pretty much just like this, where the patients see me with my office books and tools and toys behind me, and then I also do a little bit of work at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, where I'm on faculty and help out with the teaching of the residents and child and adolescent psychiatry fellows, and of course the medical students. So I really enjoy that. And then I also just recently started my own small private practice. So because it's so small and not very many hours, I'm not taking insurance, but it's nice because without the um, you know um, all the parameters and red tape that insurance brings, I'm able to see patients, do therapy with them, and medications, and really use all my skill set in one setting.
That's actually awesome. Uh, it's amazing that right now, we know that there's no stress at all, there's no anxiety, and of course, kids are bulletproof, and they don't hear anything, they don't see anything, and
Mhm.
they're right now, as we all know, having a tough times. And us as adults, we have all these toolkits that we have had for life, and right now kids are exposed to so many things. Well,
Right.
thank you for sure for what you have been doing, and tell us a little bit more on your experience on TV, and why, what topic was it, and how was it?
Sure, yeah. So I just had such a thrilling experience a couple weeks back. I was invited on the Denver News to talk about autism, and specifically in the Hispanic, Latino, Latinx population. And it was the first time I was ever on live news, and the biggest urban news station. I've done some little things before, but I tell you, nothing gets the adrenaline going like being on a live news channel.
I have a question. What was kind of the process when they told you, well, yes, and we'll probably talk at the end, how can you actually get more networking involved to actually make sure that you're giving the correct information to everybody else. But what was your feeling on, they called me? What was happening in your mind?
Right. So that's where, I've been very involved with national organized medicine, really since medical school, not just in my own specialty, but also in advocacy for, decreasing health disparities in the Latinx community. And so I've been very involved with the Latino Medical Student Association, National Hispanic Medical Association, also the American Psychiatric Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. And so one of the the news channel reached out to one of the national organizations I'm involved with, and said they were looking for a child and adolescent psychiatrist to speak about mental health issues for the Latino population. And so it got forwarded to me, and they, the organization said, this is who we would recommend that you speak with. And so then I spoke with the producer, and she gave me a little more information about what she was looking for. And I'll tell you, I thought about saying no. I was anxious, and I was like, well, is this really going to help me? What are the risks? And I'll also tell you, in psychiatry, we sometimes don't get the best publicity from the news and from media. And so I was a SAMHSA fellow in the American Psychiatric Association, and got this big grant stipend. And one of the things they did to build our leadership is they actually had HR and public relations and media training for us. And this was several years ago now. But one of the things they really stressed was be very careful, what you want your message to be, and stay on your message. And also, know who is interviewing you, because I mean, there are literally organizations out there that are like built against psychiatry. So, so I wanted to make sure that whatever information I put out there, that the message didn't get, miscommunicated.
And why? One of the best things is, on that and everything that you went to exactly the way that we see everything, right? That we start with why are we actually doing this? Is it worth it or not? And the second thing is, what's your passion? Why you actually decided, yes, with all because we all have self-imposed barriers. There's like outside imposed barriers. There's tons of barriers. But why you decided this topic is important, that I raise my hand and voice what are my concerns and my opinions.
Sure. Well, one thing is I thought about, being a role model for the high school kids and the undergrads out there who are thinking about going into medicine, and showing myself, and think that there's probably other Latinas out there that maybe would see that, and it would give them some inspiration and hope. Um, also because uh, there's very few Latinas in child and adolescent psychiatry, and so I saw this as an opportunity to talk about an issue that really is uh, important, and doesn't get a lot of press. So that's when I decided, okay, no, I don't quite totally feel comfortable doing this, but I'm going to push myself and I'm going to do it.
That's awesome, because that's the way that we all start, and everybody is, we all have the TV as one of the top priorities for communication for mass media. But some people actually have the same process, and they go like, hell no, I'm not getting close to a camera. Hell no, I'm not doing public speaking. But they're awesome on writing, and they're awesome on doing other stuff. Then that's kind of, I love that you actually came out from I'm here, I have this to say. Plus, there's, if I can do it, probably other people behind me can actually see, oh, yeah,
Right.
she survived. She's still alive. Then there's something else, and that's quite awesome. The process that you walk us through. And now, okay, you talked us. You talked about what actually you were doing before, and did you prepare yourself? Did you look at statistics? What was your process for that?
Yes. So the producer was very kind, and I had a lot of questions, and she was really uh, helpful in answering those. And so I got clarification about how much time it was going to be for, and it was they allotted 3.5 minutes, which actually I guess in news time is kind of a pretty good amount of time. And I was pretty lucky. Like she said I could talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. That that she saw me as an expert, and what did I think was an important message to get out. So she suggested I send her some talking points. So I did. And to build those talking points, I went to several trusted resources to get different statistics, and I just wanted to make sure I was most up to date on them, and so I could cite, this organization says this, and so I reread some of the big papers that where those statistics came from, just in case there was any deeper questions, which there weren't.
That's awesome. Then practically you found the information that was relevant to your talk, that was
Yes.
relevant for Hispanos, that was up to date, and you got like different points of view just in case.
Yes.
And how was the moment? Like you were preparing, you were thinking, you had all the debate, but 3 minutes and a half were like hours of mental
Uh,
anguish and everything
mhm.
else. How was it?
So honestly, it felt like the first time I went to I'm from the Chicagoland area. The first time I went to Six Flags Great America and was on one of those like Batman roller coaster rides. I mean, it was extremely scary, and especially when it hit me because they bring you into this like Skype room and you can hear the live news while the producer is like talking to you, and so I could hear them talking about this major accident on the interstate and some national news, and then they're like, okay, and then they count you down, like they say like 30 seconds and then 10 seconds and then go, and then suddenly the anchor, who this was like their main anchor man, and he's got the news voice, and I'm like, this is really happening. And honestly, I was very anxious, and I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure I stayed focused and didn't mess up what I was saying, and so I just actually put that out of my mind that I was on the news and just went into a mode like I was talking to a patient and their family. And that's, I mean, everybody's told me that's seen the clip said that I seemed, very professional and I didn't look anxious. And that's because I really just went back into the mode of what I do all the time of just talking to one family, one patient.
And that's a beautiful, and I think that that's actually one of the best tips that you can actually give and receive, that you know understanding why you're doing it and on the moment is like, there's nobody else qualified to do this, and you're there present. And the most important thing that I think that we as providers, we create as healthcare providers, is that part of, since we started med school the first day, we already were the experts. Sadly, they were asking us, you're like, yeah, should I get like neurosurgery? Like, I have no idea how to spell the problem that you have, but on the process of actually building up, our understanding of medicine and everything that we're doing, you're right. We end up representing the Latinas back there, our families and everything else. And you are right. Like talking to a patient, and I have a running saying that my life is devoted to translate medicalish to an understandable, actionable information that families can actually do something with it.
Yeah.
If they want to go other ways that I don't, that I don't my my preference, that's perfectly fine. But they had the choice, and
Mhm.
that choice with our communities and with absolutely everybody that we have around us, sometimes it's actually very limited because they are running. And in Mexican Spanish, we say that están corriendo por la chuleta, that meaning that they are like fighting to actually bring food home.
Right.
And sometimes they just no choice. You hear that the influenza virus vaccine is bad, and that's it. You want to protect your family, you don't want to hear about that. But when you start informing them that it's not that, it's actually preventable, and yeah, COVID and a lot of stuff that these you give the choices. And I
Mhm.
love that you actually were there and giving choices. And at the end, what was your feeling?
Oh, just like ecstatic, just so thrilled. And then the producers said, that was really good. We're going to keep you in our Rolodex, and we'll contact you if, we're in need of similar content in the future. And I said, oh yeah, I'd love to do this again if I can have the opportunity. So yeah, I was just like on cloud nine the rest of the day, just really happy. And actually, it's given me a huge boost in confidence since then too. So that's been really cool to see.
Then let me share what I'm hearing from your experience. First of all, it was hard at the beginning. It's not something that that you were used to, but you prepared, you asked, you were present. It was a topic that you loved, that you were passionate about.
Yes.
You figure out ways to enhance your message. There's probably a couple of other tips regarding how to create your message and making sure that it's clear, nice, and repeatable. And you were present there, and you found a key aspect that I think that every time that you see a camera or an interviewee asking you, a journalist actually asking anything, you'll feel that he is or she is your patient. Then I think that's a nice tip for that. And what's next? Like right now, you found like one of my big frustration, and that's why I do love creating communication with the community and translating medical ish. It's the on my day to day, I can see maybe 25 patients. If a crazy day, 12 hours, 12. Very hard. But with that clip for 3 minutes and a half in Denver, you were probably seen by a couple of hundred thousands, and at least your message was there. And it's there, and you're giving snippets of education. It's not the entire thing about the medications, nothing. It was like a snippet of, hey, this is what you should hear and tune on this message. And what's your feeling on that one?
Yeah, so that was really a big part of the preparation, was deciding what are the three things that I really want the viewer to be able to come away with. And so that's hard, like, as a physician, to boil down a huge medical condition into, like, 3 points. So that's what and what was important for me is I gave some resources, some website resources at the end of it, so people could go and get even more information.
And that's awesome because that's one of you mentioned a couple key things that is repeatable in articles, social media, radio, anything. The 3 pointers that you actually make sure that you want to, no matter what question you have in front of you, you make sure
Right.
that you're portraying. And the other thing is a call of action.
Right.
um like, yes, I entertained you for 3 minutes, but hear me out for 20 more seconds, and I will tell you the truth of what you need to do. And I think that's one of the important things, and especially it's that it's a sprint. 3 minutes go. Like, you can be trying to sleep in 3 minutes. It's very very fast.
Yeah.
And what would you do differently? With other process that you had, what do you think that it would clarify the way that you were doing things, or on the future for anything?
Well, so eh, it it all was a little since I hadn't done it before, I didn't know exactly, all the ins and outs of it. So for example, they said, we want to check your mic. And then I was like, okay, but I didn't know they wanted me to just count. So I just said checking, and they're like, no, count. So I did, and things like little things like that. But I mean, I guess that just comes with the more you do it. But um so it wasn't clear. Like we talked about it for about a week and a half before we actually did it, and it looked like maybe I thought maybe they were going to pull it because I know sometimes they pull content, and so it all happened like really fast. Where once I sent the talking points, then like the next day I was on. So, anyways, they boiled down the talking points and they said these are the three questions we're going to ask you, but they told me like 5 minutes before I went on. And so one of the questions they asked me, I didn't have like an immediate like thing to just say, and so I kind of like thought about it for a second, and so I just wish that was I had been a little more polished on that. But I kind of knew too that it was gonna be a little difficult because the question they asked we don't really know like the answer to, like there's no study showing what that information is. So so I felt like I floundered a little bit, and I was anxious when I went to watch it again, how that looked. But I mean, it was okay. I don't think that it was horrible. I didn't fall like on my face. But that's something I would try to be a little more polished on. And then I don't know, like I would hope that in the future I won't feel as scared, at first, because I was really really in fear mode for like the first couple of minutes while I was waiting, because they call you like 15 minutes or so before they actually want you on, so it'd be just nice to just enjoy all of it more.
That's awesome that you had all that stuff around you, and that's actually part of this conversation. Like right now, knowing that less than 5% of the physician workforce is actually bilingual, let alone Hispano bilingual.
Wow.
And we have all that stuff. And there was actually for California, and I can share this with you. In order to have enough physicians to be growing with the Hispano population here on the rate that we're creating doctors in California that are Hispano, it will take 500 years, 500, to actually get to a point that it will be balanced. Then I think amplifying the voice of our community and the language that we need on the topics that are extremely relevant for our community, no matter if you're if you're bilingual, if you're not, if you speak more Spanish or English or whatever. The diversity of the Hispano population is amazing, and we need to actually grab that and do something with it. And that's why it's important that it's awesome that you stepped up, Dr. Holman, and actually making sure that you were representing yourself, your family, your community, and future voices of everybody. And uh, again, you started with everything. You decipher the code, the 3 points, the finishing, the call of action, and most importantly, you're in the Rolodex there. Then trust me, right now with depression, anxiety, and all the stuff that we have, especially right now, one of the topics that I started talking, today was the impact of conversations as adults with kids regarding the elections. It's not
Mhm.
about blue or red or anything like that. It's actually trying to teach them that there's different ways to approach a problem and create conversations regarding that. Because if you're only blue or only red, there's no conversation.
Mhm. Right. And also helping them feel secure and safe at home, whatever's going on the news and out there. Yeah. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Is there anything else that you want to share with everybody here? Right now, we are in Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and after we finish, it will be directly uploaded to Instagram. Is there anything else that you want to share with residents, medical students, with absolutely everybody that you have around you regarding your experience on how to empower them to find their own voice?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was literally never something I even dreamed for myself to that I would one day be on a major news station on live news. And so I've had big dreams. I was the first in my family to go to college, become a physician, but I had never even thought about media, and so it was very surreal. And I would just say that follow your dreams and be an advocate. And being an advocate can really include being on media. And don't let your fear and anxiety and thought that you're not an expert enough to be on the news to stop you. Go for it because it's really fun.
Thank you so much for that, and I hope that a lot of people that you, with your voice and your actions, we are empowering more people from our community. No matter if you're a student, high school student, if you're in college or university or any level, if you're nursing and nurse practitioner, doctor, anything, we need your voices. And sometimes, it could be TV, it would be awesome, or it could be social media, or it could be reading stuff or writing stuff or just advocating or creating a march for something. Then find what you're actually passionate, what's your passion, why you're doing it, and make sure that you create a plan for that. Then, Doctora, what a pleasure to have you here. It has been almost half an hour of an amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Gracias a ti.
Un placer. Voy a ahorita cerrar esto. No se me vaya, doctora, no se me vaya.